Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to all of you on our Zoom call, all of you joining in from the various social platforms. I hope you're all doing well. Today's message is entitled, What We Do for Love. So before we talk about anything else, I want to name what's real. There are people listening right now on this call, mostly women, some men, people who've lived a lifetime of loving. They've lived in many ways for love, for extending love, and not always the kind that comes with roses and music. I'm talking about the real kind of love, the kind that wakes you up sometimes at 3 a.m. to answer a phone call from a friend or a loved one, the kind that brews coffee before the body even wants to stand up, the kind of love that holds the hand of someone who no longer remembers their name. There's many of you here like this. The kind of love that drives across town to check on a sibling or a friend, or someone who sits in a waiting room with a neighbor, or buys groceries for someone who can't get out of the house. You're all here. Perhaps you're someone who helps a grandchild or a neighbor's child, helps with homework because there's no one else who can do that. There are people here who've raised children alone. I want to acknowledge you. And there are people here that mentor other people's children. So I want to acknowledge everybody. There's some here who are guiding teens who have no one else to turn to. And without sounding morose today, many of us are getting a little older now. And some of us, we've had to bury people that we've loved. Some of the people left this world far too early, too young. And yet somehow you've all kept going. So I want to honor you. You've kept rising. You're strong. You've kept loving, even when it hurt. Many of you have loved without being loved back in the way you hoped. And I want to name that also. Because we don't always talk about it. And because it matters. It's part of the story. It's part of what brought you here. You've carried heartbreak and great responsibility in your life. And you've done it with a quiet kind of courage the world doesn't always recognize. And through all of it, you're still here. So I want to say namaste to each of you. You're still showing up. You're still giving, still growing. You're still saying yes to life in 1,000 quiet ways. Maybe no one's ever looked you in the eye and said this to you before, but let me say it to you now. That kind of love, that kind of strength that you have, that is spiritual and that is sacred. What you are is you are God in motion. So this morning I want to talk about that kind of love, not the picture perfect kind of love, not the easy kind, but the kind that you have lived, most of you, many of you. And I want to offer you a lyric that's been circling around in my mind all week. Maybe you'll recognize it. It goes like this: kiss today goodbye and point me toward tomorrow. We did what we had to do, and I won't forget, and I can't regret what I did for love. You see, that's not just Broadway. That's a testimony, because if you've made it to this season in your life, you've lived this long and this well, if you've loved and if you've lost and if you've tried again, if you've cared for others when no one clapped for you, if you've chosen love when it was the hardest thing to do, then you know what it means to live that line. I won't forget. I can't regret what I did for love. You may have scars. You may still be healing yourself. You're getting stronger, and your life is living proof of love in action. And in religious science, we understand something sacred about all of that. But even when it didn't go the way you wanted, even when it hurt, even when you were doing it all unconsciously, love was still at work in you. And the fact that you're still here still here with us, still seeking, still showing up to this sacred touchstone that we share every Sunday morning. That tells me something powerful. It tells me that most of you live with positive expectancy. In spite of everything, you're still here. You still believe. You still expect life to be good. You still expect love to rise again. You still expect healing, and no healing is possible for you and for the world. That, to me, is the truest kind of faith. One of my best teachers, Dr. Bill, used to ask, are you a lifter or are you a leaner? And when I look at this beautiful community week after week, I see it as clear as day. You are lifters. You carry more than most people, and somehow you still lift others along the way. That's what this teaching is all about. It's about choosing to keep opening yourself up, to keep loving, to keep forgiving, to keep believing in something bigger. Even after hardship, even after heartache, even after disappointment tempted you to shut down or close down. And let's not pretend it's easy. In a world that often feels more disconnected than ever, where messages go unanswered, and loneliness hides behind screens and our devices, your decision to keep showing up here week after week is not small. This isn't just about a broadcast. It's a lifeline that we provide here, and you're a part of it. It's a place to remember who you are and how deeply you are loved. This is a living ministry for the soul, a sacred circle of hearts doing the work. Today we honor you. We honor that work. Again, we honor you. We honor the sorrow and the sweetness, the mess, and the miracle, and all the things you've done and still are doing for love. So let this be your anchor day. You are the proof that love endures. Love is the central flame of the universe, the very first fire, said Ernest Holmes. Again, he said, love is the central flame of the universe, the very first fire itself. Our teaching tells us that we are individualizations of a greater love and eternal energy. It tells us that we are part of a living intelligence that expresses itself through each and every one of us. And I've learned a few things over the years myself. Maybe you have too. No matter how many heartbreaks we've known, no matter how many times we felt hurt or let down, there's something inside of us that always wants us to connect and to love again. There's a divine impulse, a push within us. And that impulse longs for peace, seeks connection, and it reaches for hope, even when we're not sure what's next. Louise, who was such a big part of this center's legacy, reminded us again and again, love yourself, forgive yourself, love others. She taught us that healing begins with self-love, not as a fluffy idea, but as a deep spiritual medicine. She said self-acceptance and self-approval in the now are the keys to all positive changes. When we learn to love ourselves, we stop attacking ourselves. We soften up. We open up. We soften up, we open up, and we begin to return to the truth of who we are. Not broken, not lacking, not wrong, but whole, radiant. Even the old scriptures tried to tell us, forgive endlessly, 70 times 7, not because it's easy, not because we're saints, because this is how we evolve. This is how we grow and transform, because we're all still learning, and so is everyone else, right? So life moves forward, and we keep forgiving, not just others, but certainly certainly others and ourselves. We understand that growth can be messy, that people change, that pain certainly happens, but still we try again, we show up again, we extend the hand again. And why? Not because we're foolish, but because it's our nature to connect. It's our nature to love. It's our nature to return to wholeness. A Course in Miracles will say it this way: the holiest place on earth is where an ancient hatred becomes a present love. That's the work we do. That's the work to remove the barriers within ourselves, to stop carrying the weight of resentment, regret, shame, to remember that we are one with something vast, something amazing, something intelligent, something beautiful, something giving. We are one with that, and it wants to live freely through us. Ernest Holmes wrote, "Love is the grandest healing and drawing power on earth. It is the very reason for our being." Again, love is the grandest healing and drawing power on earth. It is the very reason for our being. That's why we don't give up on love. It's not about being naive. It's about being real. It's about realizing the truth of who we are. Because you and I, we're not accidents. We didn't happen by random. We're not here by chance. As Raymond Charles Barker, First Church founder, said, you, that's you and I, all of us, he said, you are the whole bit. You are a spiritual being, fully equipped, fully alive, fully needed also. You're part of something holy, something spectacular, something eternal. And yes, it's still unfolding in you and through you and as you. So this is the miracle of life. We say namaste, not just as a tradition, but as a recognition. Spirit in me sees and honors the spirit in you. Love recognizes love, and love holds no grievances. So yes, this teaching is about affirmations, affirmative living, healing, and growth. But more than that, it's about awakening. It's about spiritual activation. It's about remembering who you are and who you've always been. Again, you're not broken, you're not behind, you're not forgotten. You are an expression of the divine itself, living, breathing, and reaching forward into greater becoming. And that, my friends, is the truth. Some of you may not realize it as yet, but just your showing up week after week is a spiritual event. You're bringing your whole self with you. You're bringing your story, your strength, your willingness, your questions. You are not invisible to us, and your presence here matters greatly, more than you might ever know. Even if you don't see it that way yourself, we do. We see you, we honor you, and we celebrate you. Namaste again. The light in me salutes the light in you. And we could say that to everyone here in our gathering and beyond. First Church isn't just another online gathering. We are one of the largest active New Thought communities anywhere right now. This matters. In a world that often feels frantic, fast, disconnected, this is a kind of quiet revolution we have here. It's sacred ground, and you've all made it so by choosing to show up, by choosing love, by practicing the teaching. Most of you now are practicing positive expectancy as a way of life. Many of you have learned to pause, not just once, but several times a day. Some of you many times a day. You're learning to center yourselves, to breathe, to reconnect with spirit, to reconnect with something deeper. That something, spirit, source, creative intelligence, is not somewhere else. It's right at the center of your being. You're learning that you don't have to be loud to be powerful, and you don't have to post something that goes viral to be valuable. You don't have to write a book or to launch a podcast to be spiritual. Just living your life with kindness, with presence, and quiet expectancy makes you a healing force in the world. I know some of you personally. I see the way you move through the world. I think of different faces as I do this talk. I'm reminded of a student and a friend of mine, Pat, in Florida, who takes the time to greet everybody. I've known her for years. Meets everybody with a warm smile and gratitude, and she shakes their hand if she can. Even if it's her third meeting, her third Zoom call of the day, I think of her often. I think of those of you who care for elders or care for children, grandchildren, other people's children, and I know often without recognition. I think of the countless ways, small ways, many of you serve. And these aren't little things. These are all sacred things. And many of you are here every Sunday and every Thursday and sometimes even Wednesday night. Your presence, your kind words, your chat comments, your emojis, your willingness to stay on and support others during the Zoom sharing. All of this is spirit in action. The outer world might celebrate fame and followers, but this teaching reminds us that spirit doesn't just show up in the spotlight. Spirit lives in the daily, the quiet, the unseen, the ordinary acts of extraordinary love. Many of you have made the courageous choice to keep your heart open, to show up with love, to try again. Many of you continue to bless the world even when your own heart has been hurting. You're practicing positive expectancy in a world that often trains us to expect disappointment. You're reclaiming joy, you're reclaiming peace and purpose. And this isn't a small thing. What you're doing is world-changing. So let's take a moment together now. Let's affirm. I am seen. I am spirit in action. I am part of something holy and whole. I am love made visible. Again, I'm seen. I am spirit in action. I'm part of something holy and whole. And I am love made visible. And now here's a poem for us to hold. It's called The Quiet Revolution. Here we go. You won't see it on the news. No one's holding out or handing out awards, but spirit sees it all. The way you reach out to others, the way you rise again after falling. It's there in the smile you gave to the stranger. It's in the silent prayer you whispered for a friend. It's in the moment you chose peace instead of proving your point. You are part of the quiet revolution, not with swords or slogans, but with presence, with your love and your determination. The world may not always notice, but the universe always does. And I see you too. Let's breathe all of that in together right now. Let those words land. Let it soften something within us. Let's breathe that in together. Let it land. Let it say something. Let it soften something. Let the healing begin. Not tomorrow, not when the outer world fixes itself, not when everything's perfect. Let the healing begin right here, right now, in the quiet center of your own heart. We're not waiting anymore. We're doing important work, as we say here. We're not going down. We're not waiting for a new year. We're not waiting for approval. We're not waiting for the right partner, the right paycheck, or the right conditions. You are ready now, not because everything is figured out, but because something inside of you is saying yes. You've said yes to showing up today. You've said yes to staying open. You've said yes just by listening to this message with your heart. And here's the thing. Healing rarely shows up as a big dramatic event. Sometimes it's the simplest inner shift, a moment where you realize that I don't have to carry this pain anymore. And when you take a breath and you just release a grudge, when you interrupt an old pattern, when you soften your tone with yourself or with someone else, that's all healing. And sometimes healing begins just by telling the truth, not to everyone, but to yourself. Like you might say to yourself, I've been too hard on myself, or I've been pretending I'm okay, but I'm really hurting. Or I've been trying to control everything. Or maybe it might be I'm afraid to hope again, or I miss someone. I still feel guilty about something. I feel guilty about something I said years ago. You see, there's no shame in any of that. Spirit doesn't shame. Spirit sees, Spirit understands. And what Spirit sees in you is the capacity to be made whole and new. Our teaching reminds us that there's a power for good in the universe greater than you are, and you can use it. But also, it can use you. It can move through you. It can bring you great comfort where there's been sorrow. It can bring you clarity where there's been confusion, and it can bring you peace where there's been pain. You don't need to rehearse or keep talking about the past anymore. You really don't need to do that. You can release it. You don't need to keep blaming yourself or others either. You don't need to apologize for still being where you are. You're here. And that means life wants you to express something beautiful, or wants to express something beautiful through you. So today, let's let the healing begin. So please take a deep breath with me. And let's affirm something together nice and easy. We can start by saying, I am willing to heal. I'm willing to release the past. I'm willing to open my heart again. I'm willing to let love lead me forward. Now let's take it one step further and say it aloud in your heart. I am worthy of healing. I am worthy of peace. I'm worthy of loving and being loved. I'm worthy of joy. Let these words be more than words. Let them be a turning point for you. Even if you've heard these ideas 100 times before, this moment is new. This you, right here, right now, is not the same you from last week or even yesterday. You're ripening in consciousness. You're growing in grace. You are softening and strengthening all at once. This is the work. This is the walk. And this is what it means to let healing begin. The healing begins when we come back to the point of power. And what is the point of power? It's not a destination. It's not a mountaintop. It's not a mountaintop you reach after years of being good or perfect. It's not when your life finally lines up and becomes easy. The point of power is always in the present moment. It's right now, right here. Louise said it so clearly, and yet some of us still miss it. She said the point of power is always, always in the present moment. And Ernest Holmes reminded us we should think of ourselves as being always in the act of creation. Again, Ernest Holmes, we should think of ourselves as always being in the act of creation. And let me say it yet another way. Right now, right in this second, you are not just existing, you are creating. Even as you sit there in your chair, your sofa, or at the kitchen table, you are radiating a signal into the universe. You are impressing something upon the field of creative intelligence. Yes, you right now. You're not waiting on permission. You're not waiting on a savior. You are the artist of your own consciousness, and your life is the canvas. So let's say it together. I'm not waiting. I am creating. Yes, I'm creating. I'm the artist of my life. I am the cause, not the effect. Again, I am the cause, not the effect. Now that could sound radical to some. It might even feel a little uncomfortable, but it's the cornerstone of the teaching, and it's the deepest kind of love. You were not dropped into this life to be at the mercy of circumstances. You were born with a spark of the infinite. You were born as a living, breathing point of power within it. Ernest Holmes wrote, mankind is a center in the divine mind. Each of us are points of God-conscious life, truth in action. This means you're not on the outside looking in. This means you are in it and you are of it. You are made of the same creative stuff that forms the galaxies, the flowers, and newborn babies. And maybe you've heard that phrase, you're made in the image and likeness of God. Let me say it to you more clearly. You have been imbued with creative power. You're not weak, you're not broken, you're not forgotten. And you're not just a reaction to what's happened to you. Each of you are active participants in your own unfolding. Raymond Charles Barker, our founder, didn't tiptoe around this. He said it boldly. He said, you are the whole bit. You're not just a spark, not just a crumb, not just a piece of the puzzle. You are the whole bit. So let's pause for a moment. Let's feel that deeply. And you can say, I'm not missing anything. I'm a center of divine activity, divine power. My life is not random. My life is responsive. This is the power of now. Because in this now moment, you can choose again. You can drop any old story. You can say, enough. I'm writing something new. And the universe, the living presence of spirit, will meet you right there. So this isn't magical thinking. This is metaphysical law. This is religious science. You don't have to wait for tomorrow. You don't have to earn it or prove it. You are standing at the point of power right now. So let's close this entire section with one more affirmation, one more spiritual declaration to seal it all. And here it is. I am not the victim of the past. I'm not defined by my wounds. Right now, I claim the power to create. I am the point where spirit shows up. I'm the whole bit. So breathe that in. Knowing you're the whole bit. Knowing that you're the living presence of the infinite. And this very moment is your doorway. There's kind of a quiet grace that lives in people who keep showing up, not just once, not just when it's easy, but again and again. There's kind of a quiet grace in people who do this. You see them every day if you're paying attention. The teacher who still smiles after a long week, the elder who walks slowly through the park, soaking in the morning sun, the friend who texts you just to say, I'm thinking about you. You see it in the person who forgives when they have every reason not to. The one who says, let's try again. This teaching isn't loud or flashy. It doesn't always happen, again, on high mountaintops. But it does show up in everyday places, in hard conversations, in the moments we say yes to love. One more time. Some of you have been walking this path for years. I acknowledge you. I know a lot of you. Many of you have lost people and you've started over. You've hit walls. You've had doubts. You've watched old versions of yourself fall away, and still you return. You return to spirit, to yourself, to the teaching, to the community, to the deep, quiet inner place that says, I know who I am. I know what I carry within, and I know there's more love for me to give. This world doesn't always understand this kind of person or this kind of strength, but we do. Because we're learning that love isn't just a feeling, it's a choice. It's a way of being, a way of returning again and again to who we really are. So if no one has told you today or told you lately, thank you for returning. You bring a piece of the sacred with you every time you do. So let's breathe that in for a moment. So today I leave you with this call. Don't wait for the world to wake up before you do. Don't wait for permission to shine. You're already luminous. You're already enough. Take a breath. Take a stand. Take that spark that's already stirring in you and share it. Share it with the world. Let your light be seen, because you are the living proof of everything that's possible. Let's anchor that in with a short but powerful affirmative prayer. Let's join with Spirit, knowing that there is one life, and say, Spirit, I remember who I am. I am the living expression of love, intelligence, and creative power. There's nothing outside of me that defines me, for I am defined by the truth inside. I align now with the divine spark within. It is rising, it's guiding, it's lifting me higher and higher. Every breath I take is part of something holy and whole. I let go of fear, doubt, and anything that says that I am less than. I choose to see myself clearly, capable, worthy, radiant, and free. This is my sacred yes. I welcome the life that is unfolding for me, and I give thanks for the strength, the grace, and the joy that's already here. And so it is. Thank you, everybody. Please stay with us. Today's Sunday sharing begins in just a moment. If you're new to our community, we'd love to hear from you. Say hello so we can welcome you. And if something in today's talk touched you, inspired you, or even cracked something open, we invite you to share it. We have a minute or two for everybody to share that wants to share. You're not alone. We're all walking this path together. Thank you again for being here.